Ladies and gentlemen, after that fascinating session on the economy, which seemed very optimistic, and let's hope that stays optimistic in the economy, we have three extraordinary individuals who have driven change in innovation and made our lives far, far better. And in no particular order, let me introduce the guests here. Dr. U.S. Vishal Rao. He's an oncologist, which means a cancer specialist, right? And a surgeon who has invented very, really remarkable a voice prosthesis, am I right, that you've done for persons suffering from throat cancer. And what this prosthesis does is that it cheats the brain into using the food pipe as a voice box. Is that scientifically correct, that I've talked about? And it's called Om. It costs $1. And that means it's about 90 rupees at the moment. And it's benefited more than 4,000 patients. And Dr. Rao has 12 other innovations. So first, let's welcome Dr. Rao to this discussion. Then, I don't want to make it ladies last, so I'm going to talk about Neha Juneja, who's a prominent social entrepreneur and the CEO of and co-founder of Greenways Appliances. Now, this is again a fascinating story. We've all seen, particularly when we reported in the past, and even now, women using the traditional mud stoves with all that smoke and wood being burnt and everything else. And Neha has come up with a really smart stove that reduces the smoke by 70%, cuts fuel usage by 65%, and thereby also brings down greenhouse gases. She's also the co-founder of another India P2P, which means people to people, I would gather. Peer-to-peer, okay. Platform aimed at providing fixed income investment opportunities for retail investors, and I think particularly women. So let's give a warm round of applause to Neha as well. And then last but not the least, we have Vimal Govind Manikandan, who is co-founder and CEO of Gen Robotics. And here again, I think this is a fascinating usage of technology and innovation. He's come out with something called the Bandicoot. And it's the world's first manhole cleaning robo, which enhances the sanitation workers' safety and dignity. And you won't believe it. I wish you'd come to Delhi. There's enough of that where I stay. But Bandicoot has been deployed over 23 states in India and 4 countries with more than 350 units. And what it does, we all know the problems that sanitation workers have. You see the papers, they die of getting into those manholes because of the poisonous fumes, and you now have a robot that cleans it. So let's give him a very, very warm round of applause. So as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, we have 3 individuals with really extraordinary achievements to their name. They look ordinary, but really extraordinary in your approach. Let's start with Neha. And Neha, all of us have watched this. We've grown up with these stoves. What made you make that decisive difference? What was the struggle to make that innovation? Let's start with you and then we'll come to the others.
Am I audible? Okay, so this
Yes,
is...
yes.
All right. So I started this journey back in 2009, 2010. And the impetus to start this was that in 2008, I had another startup which was in the stock markets, particularly derivatives. So that just kind of went down the course quite quickly. And it was the same co-founding team that thought that what is it that we can do which is a win-win business, because in our minds the stock markets quite a few times are not. And we just did a little traveling around India to see. I have grown up all over India. My father had a transferable job, like 11 schools. But it's just that somehow growing up, you or living in India, you learn to unsee things. You will learn to unsee some problematic part of the sidewalk. You will learn to unsee, a lot of other things as a defense mechanism. And this was a journey to start seeing, which of course this panel has done. And the most drudgery-driven thing that we saw was people, or especially women, using matti ka chulas. Even today, in 2025, 50% of Indian population uses a matti ka chula for at least part of their cooking. It is, we have a doctor on the panel. It's terrible for your lungs. It's one of the, it causes over 1 million premature deaths every year. It's terrible for the environment, and in a world where we are going to Mars, even in 2009 we were going to Mars, it's not a hard problem to solve, you know. It's not a hard problem to solve. So we thought, okay, this is a great opportunity. Let's just do something. It was a lot harder than what we imagined, but that was just the trigger that this is so obvious. This is everywhere, and this is not a, you know, this is not a high physics problem. It's somebody just needs to do something, and I think that was just it.
And in terms of the innovation of the stove, I mean, this is the next big leap, right? There could be hundreds of people who thought about it. What made you, you know, design and come up with this kind of an innovative stove?
Actually, we had a journey of a lot of failures before we came up with the right design. Almost 3-4 years, we kept designing stoves. We, you know, started getting patents and all that. But what worked well in the lab did not really work well with people. And the learning there was to co-create with women and rural women. Initially, I want to share a little bit of a gender argument here. Because initially we would go to villages and we would take feedback, like, you know, just standing in a group like this. And the men never let the women speak. They had a lot of suggestions.
Still happens, I think.
And if you know, question them, then when was the last time you used the stove? The answer, no, there's no answer to it, you know. So we started doing focused women's group. That's how we learned, you know, mingled with a lot of self-help groups, which has led to the women financing business now, and essentially co-created basis their knowledge of use, etc., and eventually ended up with the product that people buy and use.
Interesting, and thank you very much for that explanation. Coming to you, and I'm just going by no particular order on this, Vimal, tell us about this. This is unusual. That were you into robotics, and why did you think of the manhole? You could have done hundreds of other innovations, but this is really one of the big drivers of change, which we needed. And none of us want to do this work, but you brought it up. What triggered your imagination and initiative?
Actually, when we started, we also fantasized about creating an Iron Man suit. So that's how our story started. Like, you have all seen the movie Iron Man, right? So we tried
movie?
to
Sorry, I didn't...
the Iron Man movie,
okay,
the Hollywood,
right?
And in our college, with my co-founding team, we were trying to build an Iron Man suit. And during this period only, an accident happened near to our campus, where 3 people died: 1 auto rickshaw driver and 2 sanitation workers in a manhole. And this is also the time where the Three Idiots movie is also very popular. And in fact, it's influenced a lot to us. So we studied engineering with such passion, and that's why we were doing something with whatever we know, we learned and all. But this incident is actually made us think, you know, we have technology that we can send to Mars and control it from here. And we are also working for a futuristic thing like an Iron Man suit. But there are a lot of people suffer in our society where robotics and AI can do a lot to that. So this thought is actually made us to think about how to solve this problem in a very near to our campus, very near to our society, that problem. So that made us to think and bootstrap from the working of Iron Man suit to, you know, creating a robot for solving the sanitation man's problem. So that's how Bendicoot is actually came to existence.
And this innovation that you made to go into the manhole, how did that come out? You had done some robotics earlier and this helped, or what does it do?
Actually, the Iron Man suit is, technically speaking, it is a robotic exoskeleton which is working synchronized with the human body, and it helps person to handle heavy weights, you know, and also do heavy hectic tasks and all that. So that was our learning ground, because
it's an exoskeleton.
It's an exoskeleton.
So the person actually goes into this?
This was the technology we were trying to develop. Right. But for this particular problem, we need to create a robotic device which goes into manhole and do every task that a person has to do. So it's a complete replication of a human level task into a manhole. Manholes are confined spaces basically, and conventional robotics like electrical system will not work because there is water and very corrosive environment. So we need to work with pneumatics and hydraulics. So such kind of tweaking is happened even after, but our initial work on the exoskeleton really helped us. And then there is a twist to this story. we worked on the exoskeleton, and we had that effect of helping somebody's life is we used on the exoskeleton. And 2 years back, we created a robotic device for disabled people. And this is called G-Gator. It's a neuro rehabilitation device. Maybe you are also well known, where it gives gait training to the disabled people, and they can recover faster. So comparing to the conventional therapy kind of technique, already 7-8 hospitals are deployed. Around 30 plus people are gone. Patients are gone through this devices as well. So we continued the taste of social and technology integration.
So how does this thing look? Looks like a human being that gets underneath, or just a pump that goes in and...
No, it's more like a spider kind of a device. So
Really?
there is a misconception all the time where people think robotics is like a humanoid one with heads and
Right.
arms
Sci-fi.
and all that. Yeah, but robotics can be any device which can be programmed and functional according to the situation in a different manner, so that we can control its programs and make it do different type of tasks also. So the device we created for manhole cleaning is more like a spider. So it just goes and do the cleaning. So we try to build Iron Man, then it become a spider kind of a device.
So instead of Bandicoot, you just called it Spider-Man, but that would have been not good for the movie. But we'll come back to you. And Vishal, let's talk about your innovation, which is fascinating. You're an oncologist, you're a surgeon. You could have done your business, just earn the money. Not, everyone who had throat cancer operated on them, tried whatever it is. What made you virtually get into the problem and try to sort it out? What was the trigger and how difficult was it?
So I think thinking back of it, at the outset, I would like to thank the Drivers of Change, Mahindra and India Today group for bringing us all out in this forum. If I think back again, I would not go back and do any innovation, because of the hardships we have faced. But I think it was ignorance that led us to do this innovation. But I'm happy we did this today, But thinking back today, if somebody would have come today and told me, would you want to innovate? I would be scared to actually go back inside, knowing the journey of what I've gone through. So the story goes back to being a surgeon. You often face, as a cancer surgeon, you often face throat cancer, which is a common issue. And people lose their voices because of tobacco use, smoking and chewing tobacco. So it was one of those security guards that actually lost his voice, and he came, sat in front of me and said, I've now lost my voice, because of which I've lost my job. And at that time, I'm saying about 2013, we had only two prostheses in the world, one from US and another from Europe, both costing somewhere between 35 to 50,000 rupees just for 6 months, replaceable, and after that the insertion costs are additional. So it was at that time that my partner Shashank, who's a silicon expert, came to me. It was just serendipitous. We both like biking. He came just to sit down and chat with me on a casual chat, and I told him we should do a bike ride to raise money for this patient who's a security guard. And he ended up saying that, how long are you going to keep doing these rides to raise money? Why don't we invent something? So that was just a casual chat that ended up into a serious discussion. And he said, I'm a silicon expert. If you know the mechanics of it, maybe we can work together. So what started out as a casual conversation ended up into something very serious, with a couple of months of us working together with scientists, experts, physicists, material experts, and trying to figure out the solution. And imagine there were only 2 patents in the world. So our journey began with, I would say to the young innovators today, hold on to one problem, stick to it for some time, put your soul into it. You can then convert it into masses, and masses can become markets. You see, the formula today is going wrong. You're saying go and search in the market, and the buzzword in the market is go innovate. Every company wants to talk about innovation as though it's the Miss India's question of what would you do for world peace? It's not about a company trying to do something for innovation. It's about understanding what's the soul of a problem. So here we were, and we invented this device. It took us 2 years. 2015, we completed our product. And today we have 144 countries requiring it. What I realized was, when I started it as a joke, I told him I need it for 5 patients maybe. Then it went to 500, then 5,000, and Shashank used to stare at me and say, now how many? And like 5 lakhs, 50 lakhs. So it's kind of kept scaling up. So Government of India came forward and supported us, because they came up with a a more robust idea. They told us that considering the complexity of this invention, that there were only 2 patents in the world. The third one is held by us today in the world. And I'm happy to say that a year back, the government of India took it to Davos to showcase it among the 100 global social disruptions that have changed the world. Today, I feel seeing thousands of patients speaking again with this voice and having the liberty to give it for free to all these patients, the joy of it. And when the...
How big is it? Is it about this big? It just fits into your throat? How does it work?
It's a small 1 centimeter device, implantable, made up of platinum cured medical grade silicone that gets implanted into your food pipe and converts your food pipe into a voice box.
So you embed it in
into the throat, because the throat cancer patients lose their voice box, so they can't speak. So we fit it into the food pipe and convert it into a voice box.
And is it replaceable? You have to change it every, like you said, 6 months earlier. You have to.
The American and the European ones had a shelf life of 6 months. We've been able to extend it to 1 year with what innovations we've done to it. And today, I'm again saying that we didn't build just one device. I have had the pleasure of talking to the Prime Minister's office and gifting them the logo of Create in India and saying that the future of Make in India 2.0 will be Create in India. To
Wonderful.
tell that what we did out of this invention was we made every part of it here. We did not go to China. We clearly said we don't want China at all. And we made every part of it here. So we said 2.0 is going to be not Make in India, but Create in India.
Excellent.
And I think that's what's going to drive the next phase of economy for India, by inventors coming forward and saying we're not going to look that side. We're not going to import from China and assemble in India. And we've been very strong on that, and our invention today stands tall because Government of India stood with us when I think we didn't go to any venture capital or any angel investors initially. We went to the Government of India and we said, please believe in our invention. And today we stand tall on that globally as the 3rd patent holders of the world. And Government of India supported us with the idea of saying build an ecosystem, not just a product. So we've actually built a state-of-the-art factory.
Wow. In Mumbai?
In Bengaluru.
In Bengaluru, my hometown. Okay.
in Bengaluru, in Pina, we built a state-of-the-art factory, which is, I think, houses the best silicon manufacturing units, which can compete with Russia, USA, Germany, China, everybody.
Excellent. All 3 of them, and particularly you, deserve a very warm round of applause. I think the lesson, and let's come to you, Neha, on this, is that the innovation doesn't stop, right? The change doesn't stop. And you've, for you, that's something that you've done and now moved on. So where have you moved on to, and what is it that you are? We've got about 6 minutes, so you've got 2 minutes to tell us what next you're up to.
So across our, while we were selling stoves, we interacted a lot with women, especially rural women, because that's where the problem sits. And over the years, I just ended up building this very strong conviction that rural women are very enterprising. They're very prudent with their financial behavior, in terms of their financial behavior, and they really care about their families and their economic progress. And yet there aren't enough opportunities for them to go out and seek capital, or even the confidence. Once you have capital, confidence comes automatically. But, just training women to be more confident and then, just hang around trying to get capital is quite difficult. So what we did, we applied for a regulatory license back in 2019, 2020 to create a platform that disintermediates banks and other financial institutions and allows all of us or any Indian citizen to lend directly to an entrepreneur on the other side in a formal way, in a credit bureau, with credit bureau reporting, formal contracts and all of that, and help them support them in this journey while also earning a good interest income out of it. So that is what India P2P is. And I just want to, I'll not take 5 more seconds. India is one of those unique countries where women have higher CIBIL scores or credit scores than men.
Higher
credit scores than men, despite lower incomes and more infrequent breaks in careers. Women actually have higher credit scores, and we don't follow the data. We lend less to women knowing that they're better borrowers. Somehow, in this case, we simply don't follow the data. So we're here to correct that.
Excellent. Coming to you, after Bandicoot, what?
Actually, Bendigoat is one of the device where the people's life is very difficult on the manhole. And manholes, so many manholes are there, and every 5 days one person is dying. So that was the first of its kind. And then we understood there is a lot of confined space, such kind of situation is there. And we go on creating a series of products like wheelbarrow robot for bigger tank cleaning, and shifted this into oil and gas sector also. So this inhuman and sanitation kind of infrastructure also need to be cleaned by people normally, and we converted that into robots. Now we started using the similar robots in oil and gas sector also. Oil and gas sector also. So the PSUs like IOCL, MRPL already onboarded as a client into this sector. We created a ecosystem of different type of products which is required for handling this confined spaces and infrastructure and all. So that is one aspect of what we does. And then we shifted our attention into creating more products using robotics and AI. We entered into the disability sector, and we created a device, as I mentioned, G-Gator, for neuro rehabilitation to make people walk back to life after stroke or spinal cord injury and recover in a faster phase. So that was that device is doing, and we are doing a lot of innovation around that specific sector, which also required a lot of innovation than whatever is required at the moment we are having. And one of the most important thing we are doing at this moment is now we already experienced the world of AI, and it's in peak and it's creating a lot of revolution. And a lot of countries, including China, now believes, and even India, its activities will come considerably less. This AI is going to come into physical form, and that is the humanoid robots, and those kind of revolution. In 5 to 10 years of timeline, every home is going to have one humanoid robot and to serve you. That's going to happen, and a lot of investment is going in that. And to be in that kind of an arena, our advanced division is working on that kind of a robotic technologies also. So that's what is the future.
Where is your factory located?
All our factories currently in Kerala. We are operating in Trivandrum and Palakkad also. In industrial and as well as techno software divisions as well.
Very unusual. Kerala normally is not known for a lot of these things, but
now a lot of change is happening in Kerala also, and they are also trying to be in front of all this tech and create India kind of revolution.
Excellent. And Neha, where is your factory, may I ask? Is it
Baroda, Gujarat.
Okay, so we are various places, right from west of India, deep south, and of course my hometown in Bangalore. But coming to you, you've gone beyond again the prosthesis, right? You've got other innovations on your mind. Which areas did you move to after this?
I think I've covered quite a lot, whether it is silicon, plastic. My recent invention with 3 new cancer drugs. I've had some inventions in the area of electronics with the tracheostomy tube, with extended reality glasses for surgical procedures. So made a wide array of inventions over the last 10 years after I understood the ecosystem of inventions. And I think that's been a great joy. And as I said earlier...
where does money fit into this? Does it or not?
So I think in medical we feel that Saraswati, if you follow, Lakshmi will follow. She's the younger sister. So we've been running the path of Saraswati and knowledge and wisdom, and money has followed. And I'm sure, surprisingly for us, Government of India became our greatest supporter. We've had Department of Science and Technology, BIRAC, we've had NRDC, the National Research Development Corporation, giving us fund under no vigilance, no monitoring, fast-tracking innovations. We've had various ecosystems in Bengaluru, which was very unusual for us to actually experience.
Right. That's very encouraging, yeah.
And I think the biggest lesson I learned from all of this was that if you think something is impossible, don't disturb the person trying to do it. Leave them alone.
Right. I think that's how the IT industry came up in Bangalore. Yeah. They just left them alone without the government. But I just want a quick word with Neha. Where does money fit into this? The same question I'm asking you.
Well, money is important, and it's also important because nowadays the world is competitive. To do things, you need support. You need capital supports to do things fast, to do things properly. And I don't know if I should give a longer answer, but yes, you should support people, not stop them from doing things, and wherever possible, support them with capital also if you're able to.
And you?
Actually, when we started, we thought of running the company in a non-profit manner. But then I realized, and we realized that, creating a company and creating a job and running for profit and raising fund and creating revenue, again innovating more and doing a lot for the society is also a great way of giving back. And even I would like to thank even Anand Mahindra. He himself invested in our company.
Who?
Anand Mahindra.
Oh, okay. Wow.
He's
Okay.
himself invested in our company. I'm
another success
thanking
story.
this opportunity to thank him also for, because that's all contributed a lot to our innovation, and that is why within 7 years of time we are able to scale in 23 states and 4 union territories. And from 4 founders we started, now we are running 300 people across India, abroad. All that has happened because of all that, and with all that we are creating impact also.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've seen these stories. Inspirational. True drivers of change. Thank you. Vishal, Vimal, Neha. Let's give them a really, really warm round of applause for this.